It's been 2 months since your hometown, Eidos, was ripped from its own reality and placed in a new world. The Eidosians are calling it Horizon. Untamed and uncharted, it presents both risk and opportunity for all. Rangers, mages, and warriors all eagerly answer the call. Not all who have gone in search of fame and fortune have returned. There are many dangers lurking in the dark. Horrors from other dimensions, summoned to Horizon as you were. Still, there is hope. There are friendly faces in Eidos, always willing to aid you in your journeys. And in the back of your mind burns the unanswerable question: who brought Eidos to this strange place called Horizon, and why?
Welcome back, everyone, to our third town hall. Excited to have you here. Still love that trailer. Gets me hyped every time. So for this week, this just as a heads up, this town hall is going to be a little bit shorter than normal. It's going to be 45 minutes instead of the hour. But we wanted to give each of you the opportunity to meet some additional members of our team, which will be the dev team, who I'll introduce here shortly. Last week, just a recap, week one, we had the opportunity to hear from our founder, Bloater Punch, who gave us a ton of amazing content initially. Last week, we had the opportunity to meet with the other two co-founders, Sandwich Punch and Baby Punch, and had the chance to meet with the Brown Gent, who's been heading our marketing efforts. So again, this week we'll be focusing in on our devs. So be ready with any of the questions that you have for them. They're excited to talk with you all today. As a reminder, I would like to ask people to like, retweet, follow if you're on Twitter, or like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And again, if you want to keep up to date with everything Dragons Crossing, please go ahead and join our Discord, where you'll find that information. And also leads me into a couple of additional things here, kind of housekeeping items. I want to remind you of our active campaigns right now. So again, we want to give you the opportunity to earn a whitelist spot, to be on the whitelist to mint one of our NFTs, one of our Genesis heroes. So just to recap these two, the first one is from an engagement perspective. Either you achieve level 8 in the Discord through chatting and whatnot to be entered to win one of 5 whitelist spots. That drawing will take place March 31st, 2023. And also the 2 players with the highest level get an automatic whitelist spot. So it's going to be exciting. We also have another invitation campaign that's going right now, where if you invite new players into our Discord, you're going to earn raffle tickets when those those folks you've invited stay in the Discord. Snapshot will be taken down in the future, undisclosed date and time prior to the mint, but we'll be taking a snapshot there. And following that Genesis Hero mint, where you mint a hero, we'll actually be drawing 7 winners who each don't get a whitelist spot, they get an actual Genesis Hero. So get out there, send out those invites. Really exciting opportunity for you to actually receive a Genesis Hero for that. So, all right, let's jump in here real quick. I want to introduce the team here. So we've got Deltoid Punch, who's our front end dev. We've got D, who's one of our back end devs. And let's start with D here. To be honest with you, this guy, he is a diamond in the rough. He's been with the project almost since the beginning. And he has some crazy credentials here, right? Created the first Bitcoin hardware wallet. He's been involved in the integration for Immutable X with GameStop's NFT marketplace. He's got some serious credentials. But beyond that, just a fantastic developer. Thrilled to welcome him to the stream. So welcome, D. And next, I'd like to welcome Deltoid Punch. Again, been with the project from the beginning here. And you can see that the folks we're bringing on as developers, or rather have brought on as developers, know their stuff. One of the smartest people I know. This guy, he's a full stack developer at a Fortune 100 company. So again, really has great qualifications, deep in the Web3 space as well. So with that, let's welcome D and Deltoid Punch. Welcome, guys. Thrilled
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thrilled to have you guys here. So, first question I want to ask you guys, even put aside Dragons Crossing, just a little bit of get to know you. What made you decide, hey, you know what? I want to be a developer. Let's start with you, Deltoid Punch. What was kind of your, hey, was it I was a little kid in school and I just knew I was going to be a developer, or how'd you get here?
So I think for me, it was more like I've been around computers my whole life. I love playing video games. I consider myself a pretty avid PC gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I was like, you know what? I'm spending so much time around computers. I feel like I'm getting to know them pretty well. That seems like a good idea for me in the future. And then obviously, just a developer itself is a relatively stable position, and I plan to have a family, and I do have a family. So for multiple reasons, I think becoming a developer made sense. And honestly, I love it. It's a lot of fun. Getting to create things out of nothing is pretty cool.
Awesome. How about you, D?
Wow. So I started as a musician and I was playing a lot of music. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, you're a musician, you said, right?
Awesome. Yeah. I started being a musician and I at first started using Pro Tools and all kind of music software just to make my recording. And I'm like, hey, these things don't work. So I really got into programming them and just got in there, went to school, and I'm like, probably I'm a better dev than a musician. So I'm still a musician. When I introduce myself, I tell people I'm a musician. So, but yeah, this is my, I don't know, day job, I guess. You got to do something. So I love coding. I've been doing it forever. Love it. I think they go together.
If your music skills are anything like your dev skills, then D, man, you'd be famous on multiple fronts. Be an amazing musician.
Well, I guess that didn't work out. I wish, man. I'll quit writing code if I can just go make a living playing music on the stage.
The real question is what instruments do you play? What kind of music do you play?
So I'm a drummer and a DJ. So
awesome.
I'm a drummer. I drum a lot. I also play the Indian classical tablas. I play them. Yeah, I record a lot of music. I produce a lot of music.
Okay, you guys heard it here. First bonus music pack is going to be coming out from D here on the as a DJ and drums here, right? Did we lose you there?
Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think I dropped for a second.
No, I was just committing you to make our first bonus music pack with your drumming skills here.
I will stick to coding. Trust me. there will be a time I will become a musician and be part of it. But this music here is awesome. I love it, man. So I'll stick to what I do better than making music.
Fantastic.
But I'll come jam with you guys. That's what I like.
That sounds great. So D, let me ask you. We'll kick this off here. You know, how did you get involved in Dragons Crossing? And yeah, let's just start there. How'd you get involved with Dragons Crossing?
I think it was just after at Denver. I went at Denver for the conference, and after that I was hanging out on the boards, and I thought this will be an awesome project for me to start from the blockchain side and get into the backend. And I really got into the project. Been doing it ever since.
Yeah, so dive into that a little bit more. How did you get to know Bloater Punch and Sandwich or Baby Punch? Who introduced you to the project?
I think Bloater Punch, he got me. I think he was looking for someone. I was hanging out in the Harmony boards in Discord. I was just looking for Web3 projects. I was all pumped up after ETH Denver. We won a couple of hackathons out there, and I was looking for the next thing. And I was also thinking about getting into gaming. At that point, I was in a conversation with the GameStop team about it. And I'm not a big video game player. I love it, but I was really thinking, what is the best use of NFT? And I was doing this consulting project with GameStop, and when I heard about when Bloater Punch came and told me, like, get into with the Dragons Crossing, I'm like, this could be the beginning of what would be real Web3 games. So I see this potential. I think there should be no way. What I see about this, the way we are going with this, people should own their heroes. And you should be able to take a hero from one game and put it into another game. They should be just like your property, uh, for real, right? Like I've been trading cards when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Why not? Why can't we create this environment where we build up a hero and other games can take a little part of it, and we create this crazy gaming environment where people own things, people own monsters, people own environments, and we all kind of show up as kids, on the table. I made something at my home. Here's my stuff, here's your stuff, and we play this one game together that comes from like different kind of people. Wouldn't that be cool? So there. Maybe I'm giving some secrets that GameStop wants to do, but I think I want to see that world.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I can really tell your passion really coming through there for the technology and for the opportunity that's here. So thanks for sort of sharing that kind of initial interest in what. Well, let me dive into that a little bit deeper for a second. What about Dragons Crossing? Because look, there's lots of other projects out there. What about Dragons Crossing really stuck out to you when you're like, hey, this seems like a legitimate project, seems like a real opportunity? What really caught your attention?
It's the team, man. I've worked with complete hackathon teams, Fortune 500 teams. This team rocks. People are passionate. Like everybody is passionate. And it's like hanging out with your buddies, right?
Yeah.
They're passionate. All of us, all of us from day one. I've never met anyone that I've spoken to in Dragon Crossing that's like, this is kind of like a side thing. Even though for most of us, not like the 100% full-time thing, but it could. But it's the team. This team rocks. Like we're good at. Everybody is the best at what they do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that. So Deltoid Punch, let's jump over to you for a second. How did you get introduced to the project? And let's start there. How'd you get introduced?
Okay, yeah. So a little over a year ago, Bloater Punch came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I've got this idea." He's like, "It's a big one," and he's like, "But I've got some smart people behind me that also have shown interest and like the idea." And he obviously named Sandwich Punch and Baby Punch, and I'm like, all right, well, so far we're at a good start here. Those are some of the three smartest guys I know, so it's not a bad idea to associate myself with those three names. And just the idea as he pitched it, it just made a lot of sense. There were some holes that we found in other blockchain-based games that we felt like this project could fill and really capitalize on. And honestly, as I said, I love video games. I like RPG. I played old school games. Like when I was a kid, I played RuneScape, and like this way he pitched it kind of gave me like some RuneScape vibes. And I'm like, all right, that sounds cool. So really just like having the opportunity to develop a game from scratch and be surrounded with some really smart people, was pretty much hook, line, and sinker from there. That's
awesome. So you mentioned you've got a family, you've got a day job, right? You've got a lot of demands on your time. What for you? Again, different projects you could have supported and worked on. For you, what was the piece that really stuck out that said, "Hey, you know what? I'd like to spend my nights and weekends working on this thing"?
Well, one, I think Bloater Punch did rug me a little bit. He played it off like, hey, just like a few hours a week. That's probably all we expect. Like, it probably won't be too involved. It became involved very quickly, obviously, and we started having all these brainstorming sessions. Great ideas were popping out, and good things started happening. Good people were coming onto the project, such as D and the other developer, One Punch. So things started taking off, and so to be fair, I wasn't fully expecting this at the beginning, but I was already in, so there was no turning back from there. But honestly, again, it's just going back to the idea, the game itself. It's a really cool game. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I think it's like I said, it's going to fill in a lot of those holes that I think other games have failed on. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think we can probably all appreciate the feeling of thinking the time commitment may have been a little less than it ended up being. But here we are a year later, right? That's where we are. We're a year later. You've been busting your butt for an entire year, both of you. And we're getting so close to that finish line. Tell me a little bit about that journey, right? And I think folks might be interested to hear a little bit about what has sort of been. And I know there's other developers that are on the team that have worked for different spurts here or there. What is the overall team dynamic been? You know, have you enjoyed it? You know, what does that look like behind the scenes when you guys are, you know, putting the front end and the back end together?
Do you want me to tackle this one first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I mean, honestly, as Dee mentioned, I think everyone's really passionate about this, and we've obviously had bumps. I think every development team has bumps in the road. People have different ideas that clash at times, but for the most part, we're pretty chill people, and we're able to find a good answer, a good solution pretty quickly. We've had a couple of other developers who, due to like some personal things, obviously have had to jump off, and credit to them too, because they put in a lot of great work on this project as well. But I think our team it's meshing really well right now. We've got a lot of good things going. We're firing on all cylinders. We've got our kind of separation. Obviously, I'm the front end. Dee's kind of more blockchain. Wen's back end, but then Dee's also got a lot of back end experience too, and has been helping out a lot there as well. So the separation of duties, but we kind of have a good idea of where the project's going and what we need to do, and it's not hard to communicate. It's super easy, and everyone's very helpful and ready to jump on a call whenever needed and get things figured out.
Fantastic. How about for you, Dee?
You know, what I like about this team is, as Deltoid was talking about the separation of duties, I like the idea of putting it all together. So when we started creating our processes, we put everything in front of everybody. So yeah, we all have our silos that we excel at. But the good thing is I have never felt with this team that if I can tell Deltoid, hey, go ahead and jump in the back end and look at this thing, he's very happy to do that. Right? So that makes it like a project is a project. Even though you feel you have your own piece, the whole thing works together. So what I really realized, there was no fear in all our team. And when I came in, I introduced some pretty radical ideas. So I come from the world that we have left behind, like SQL. We are very NoSQL. Data should only be in data. No template should be in data. So I introduced a bunch of new concepts. And this is the first team. This is the first team where the resistance was not resistance, but curiosity. Most of them people are like, no, I don't know how to do that. You know, like people get scared, but there was no fear. Like, oh my God, this is like cool. There was no fear. We jumped right into it. Yeah, there were bumps. We jumped into it. We did it, and we're going ahead. New technology, like the One Punch, kudos to him. He has been writing code like a rock star on things that he had not written before. And there was no fear. What's a better way to make a video game? No fear. That's what I love about this team.
Awesome. I can just tell the passion, the excitement. It sounds like we're really gelling and communicating well. Got a comment here from Tipsy too here. Like the bison in the background, bullishness. Yes, I definitely agree here. It counts. And I think the dev team here is bullish on Dragon's Crossing and what we've created to this point. So you kind of talked about fear for a second here, Dee. I want to tap into something that I know a lot of people have fear about, and that is from the security perspective, right? People are buying an NFT, they are, playing a game. There's money involved. They want to know that, hey, we're not going to have a situation where all of a sudden, everything goes poof because there was some security vulnerability, right? So I think that trust and that security and that lack of fear is really important. So what's kind of been your philosophy, we'll start with you, Dee, kind of what's been your philosophy from a security perspective as you've been designing the game? And my understanding is building it from scratch, from the ground up, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. We started with the ground up. So for whoever I'm hearing this, and I know we are going through crypto winter, and we hear about these big crypto companies going bust, and we all are like, so is this thing secure? Let me tell you one thing. Crypto is secure. All right. If crypto breaks, like the underlying technology, the concepts of a secure channel transmission, if that breaks, the world as we know it is going to disappear. You won't be able to sign into your regular fiat bank account. Crypto is secure. The unsecurity of everything that we have been hearing is when we take this secure stuff and give it to a third party that we do not trust. Crypto never, when the Harmony hack or other hacks happened, it was not a crypto hack. It was a Web 1.0 hack when somebody lost his keys in the car, three people lost their keys in the car, and someone took their car. That's exactly what has happened. So let me be very clear about that. And NFT, if you hold it yourself, if you hold your keys, if you write down your private key in a piece of paper and put it in a bank locker, nobody can take it from you. It's the most secure thing that happened. So if you own something, you know how to protect it, this will remain yours. Even if something happens with Dragon's Crossing and we go somewhere else, your NFTs are your NFTs. Somebody else will take this awesome work. Someone will take this awesome work and redesigning it. That's the point of creating ownership. I have been working, I created a Bitcoin hardware wallet. I have been working with Cisco for 9 years. I designed their voicemail system. I can assure you, there will be no attack surface in our backend. We will do whatever it can. I love the team. We have the leadership buy-in on this. This will be one of the most, we will follow the industry standard security practices. And if anyone has any questions about that, come challenge me. I'll take you up on the duel.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that confidence and that that dive into that. I can definitely say security is top of mind and agree with your statement there that everyone across the team understands how important that is, not only for the Web 2 components of the game, but the Web 3 components of the game as well. Let me ask this question real quick, and I'm going to jump to you, Deltoid Punch. What was the first hardware wallet? What more could you tell us about that, Dee?
So in 2003, sorry, say that again.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's 2013. I was in Toronto at the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada, and there was a bunch of kids, Vitalik and Anthony Delario. We were all writing Ethereum code, and Anthony Delario put a challenge to me. It's like, hey, he had a lot of Bitcoins. He was one of the earliest persons. So he's like, I want to make sure that we can put this Bitcoin in a watch that I can walk around with. And so he threw me a challenge, and we sat there and we designed this thing. It was called Mantra One. It was so essentially what I did is I recompiled Bitcoin, which only worked on 16-bit microcontrollers at that time for an 8-bit processor, put it in a tiny microcontroller with a little watch so that you can sign your transaction over Bluetooth low energy. So that became the first hardware wallet, and then we sold it to probably some other, I got to talk to my legal before I can tell who all we sold it to. And I think it has been light of the day, but I got out of it.
Got it. Awesome. Well,
yeah,
that's exciting. And I think highlights your focus on security, right? As we talked about.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about for you, Deltoid Punch? Kind of what's your view been as we've been designing this, from the front end perspective and a security perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can put on top of the D guarantee that it's going to be secure, but I mean, we have definitely put a lot of thought into making this thing secure. From the front end perspective, you're pretty limited in what you can do because the front end by nature is pretty hackable. Obviously, you can do things like make sure no one can click a button if they shouldn't be allowed to click a button, right? But even then, if you know what you're doing, you can actually get around. Maybe I shouldn't even be saying this, giving people ideas. But what we need to what we're doing is on the back end is really where the focus needs to be in making sure that these things are secure. So just making sure endpoints are only accessible from certain places, that any invalid data we get put into it. We're doing a lot of negative testing, just making sure that invalid data won't break anything, and things are naturally secure. So
awesome. So and as the most non-technical person on this call, I know a question that I've seen pop up before. Maybe we can just address it again. This is a browser-based Web3 game, right? What's to stop someone from saying, for example, hey, I'm going to, is there going to be a way where someone would say, hey, I found the URL for this piece of the game or whatever, and I can get there without playing through the game, or refreshing because all of a sudden I died and I didn't want to die, right? And I want to go back to where I was. Have you addressed those types of things?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the things we always make sure is that we're constantly saving the state of the game. So for example, if you perform an action in the game and then like instantly close your browser, as long as that API request has gone through, we're saving that game state. So when you close the browser and you upload back into it, the game's going to reload onto that hero exactly where you left it. And then obviously you mentioned getting to know like other URLs, perhaps like different destinations in the game based on the URL, because it is a browser-based game. We've made sure that if you're in certain locations, you can only access certain locations. And if you attempt to type in the URL, because there's nothing we can do to keep you from typing in a URL, right? If you know the URL and hit enter, that the first thing it's going to do is we have what's called a higher order component, which checks what URL you're going to and checks what URL you should be at, or you should be allowed to go to. If it's one you're allowed to go to, we send you there. If it's one you're not allowed to go to, we put you right back where you are supposed to be before you can do anything else in the game.
Got it.
So from the front end perspective, I guess that's another security that we put in place just to make sure that they can't go anywhere they're not allowed to, even if they know where that place is.
So it sounds like you have resolved all the potential hacks I'm capable of as a low-tech sort of player of the game. And it sounds like there's a lot more technology and a lot more thought you've put into it at a much deeper level, which that's really exciting. And I think comforting too, to the point where even putting looks like we lost E, but putting aside a malicious attack, it also sounds like, hey, look, my power just went out. I'm in the middle of fighting a boss. I can come right back in, and I'm not going to have loss, depending on when it happened, right?
For sure, yeah. Not only is that a security thing, but would be a really frustrating thing if you're halfway killing some boss, you're doing really well, you're getting lucky or whatever in your rolls, and then your internet goes out, right? And you come back and you have to restart the boss. Like that would be very frustrating to the players. So we make sure that the game state is constantly saved and you're going to be put back exactly where you left off, no matter what happens.
Awesome. Okay. Well, hey, bummer we lost D for a few minutes here, but let's press on. I got a couple other questions I can ask you here, Deltoid Punch. So how about this? What's sort of been the most complicated piece of the game for you to develop?
Okay, so I've thought about this question a little bit. There's two different parts of the game that for me were the most complicated from the front end perspective. One with combat, there's a lot of like timing and phases, right? So like does the monster go first or the hero goes first? If the monster goes first, does he hit? If he hits, then display this. What is the number? Based on the number, we perform some sort of actions, and then we allow the hero to go on their turn, right? And so in a browser-based game, you got to make sure that all these things happen in the correct amount, in the correct order at the right time. Otherwise, it's going to be a complicated mess. So that was pretty complicated. And then the other part was the inventory system actually was surprisingly difficult. And I actually, going back to RuneScape, if you think about like the way I base the inventory system is off of like how the bank accounts in RuneScape work. So everything kind of just like syncs up to the first open row, and you can obviously order items around in your inventory however you want to order them. However, it's always going to like cinch up to the very next slot that's open your items, and you can drop it anywhere in your inventory and it'll always put it to that next available slot. So I use RuneScape actually as my my basis in designing the how the inventory system was going to work.
Awesome. I'm
and
sure
the dragging and dropping to different slots too, like making sure an item when it's dropped, you try to drop a sword in your helmet slot, obviously it shouldn't work, right? And so there were some complexities with that, but
awesome. Dee, do we have you back here? Maybe soon. Let's take this question from Gatrino. I think I'm saying it right, or Gatrino. I don't know. will there be a mobile app in the future? And maybe let's add a second question there. Is there a mobile capability here?
Yeah. Shout out to Katrino. I see the dude, he's popping off in Discord all the time. So it's cool what he's been doing for the Dragons Crossing community already. But the answer is not necessarily a native mobile app right now. We don't have that in our near future roadmap. However, doing things like a progressive web app where you can actually download the app from your browser and it'll run kind of like a native app on your phone is something that we could do with, I think, just a little bit of extra work there. But on the flip side of that coin, the game is optimized to work on multiple sides of screen, on multiple different sizes of screens. So you can play it on a desktop, you can play it on your laptop, you can play it on a tablet, or you can play it on your mobile device. And the screens will work and kind of move around to fit properly in each of those different size viewports. Obviously, I think you're playing on a desktop is going to be the most ideal experience. I think things look better, and that's kind of been like our priority is making sure this really looks good on like a full-size monitor. But on your mobile device, it should still look good and still be playable.
Awesome.
And feel good as well.
Great. So sort of mobile first sort of design perspective, realizing that, hey, we're gonna make this capable for mobile. That's awesome. Dee, do we have you back here?
Yep. I'm actually on my Wi-Fi on my 4G, and it's a little off today.
Yeah. No problem. Not won't comment on the internet quality here. This will not be your experience in Dragons Crossing, although I guess your mileage may vary depending on your own internet connection.
Absolutely.
But awesome. So we were just covering a couple of things. Dee, another question for you here. I asked this to Deltoid Punch here. What has been the most challenging thing for you to develop in the game?
With any kind of game, like the biggest challenge of designing, architecting a video game is making sure.
You guys just missed it. That was a gold nugget, I'm sure. We may have.
Okay, I'm back again. Sorry about that. I guess it's been bad today. It just wants. It's putting a stress on this video conferencing utility. So we had to design a way that we can go back and test our game. So for example, if you're fighting a monster, you want to see exactly what has happened if the monster does certain things. The nature of video games is things are happening randomly. The monster is not supposed to act exactly the same way every time you interact with it. So how do you test something like that has been the most challenging thing. So we are creating this whole sort. We are spending a lot of time in creating the scaffoldings, this harnesses that we can test our game to ensure that all the paths are taken care of. And it's a daily struggle. We are still working on it. If a monster beats you, you need to know why, at least for the dev side. So we have very clean logging. And that also comes back to the security side of it. A video game by its nature is random, right? You expect a lot of randomness when things are happening. But when you're coding it and testing it and making sure there is no security holes in there, that randomness gets in the way. So we are creating a way to do a controlled chaos and know why that chaos is happening. That has been the biggest challenge as the nature of this project.
Awesome. Well, it's a great answer. Really insightful there as to the challenges you guys have faced here as you've been developing this. And it sounds like you've come up with systems and looked to inspiration in other areas and your past experience for how to work through that. So I want to take this question real quick from Sergeant Filthy McNasty. Sorry if this question was asked. Is gameplay on or off chain? What can you tell me about that, Dee?
So the gameplay is not on chain. The gameplay is server side. All the assets ownership are on chain. So the game logic is sitting on our servers written in our backend. But every asset that you own, which is especially the heroes and some of the items that the hero uses, they are on chain.
Awesome. And from a, the front end perspective there, Deltoid Punch, what does that practically mean for a player compared to other Web3 games that are fully on chain?
Right, and this is actually one of the things that really appealed to me when Bloater Punch was first pitching this idea to me. You don't have to submit a MetaMask transaction for everything you want to do, and that's a big thing, right? So you can go do a quest without having to submit a MetaMask transaction. You can retrieve loot without MetaMask transactions. You can sell your items in game, kind of, or you can destroy your items. Different things with items, right? You can do that without MetaMask transactions. And so there's only specific areas that require blockchain integration. And I think most of those have been revealed, right? You can camp securing your NFTs, identifying skill books, learning skill books, and certain things like that are blockchain-based transactions. So honestly, you could play the game for a while if you're really unlucky, right? You don't get any NFT drops, and there's really no MetaMask transactions or blockchain integration that you need to do until you really get those NFTs flowing. Summoning a hero, obviously, being another big blockchain integration.
Awesome. So essentially what I'm hearing is, right, you're taking the upside, the best features of a Web2 gaming experience and combined it with the benefits of the Web3 ownership and gaming experience. That's
so a lot of the excitement in other games is you find these rare items, right? They're NFTs. You get to keep them. You can watch them go up and down in value. You can sell them when you want. You can play with them and use them in game. And so you can do all of that with these things without needing to submit a MetaMask transaction every 20 seconds. So
awesome. That's fantastic. Well, hey, thank you for taking the time here on these questions, guys. Again, really appreciate it. And, I know firsthand you guys have been doing fantastic work, late nights. Usually you guys are the ones who are on later than anyone, cranking away. So really appreciate your efforts here. And, with that, I think we'll say goodbye here. We've got a couple of things we want to drop. In terms of alpha here. So thanks, Deltoid Punch. Thanks, D. So for those of you stuck around here, really excited to announce some alpha. I know that's why you guys are here. You're like, hey, what's coming next? What can we expect here? So we want to announce the imminent upcoming launch of our website. So I will say we've redacted a few different features on this homepage that you'll see here shortly. Or that we'll reveal, but our planned launch date is to roll out the website live on Monday. So you can see here across the top, there's going to be a page that will give you additional details on Mint. There will give you a page that will lay out each of the heroes, provide you some details on some of their skills. The gameplay tab is going to provide you with some details on some items, additional details on skills and what they do, and the different zones you might encounter as you are playing Dragon's Crossing. We've got a token page. We'll go into some details there, and then you'll have a team page, although you've already seen most of those faces here. So again, really excited to be able to share this with you. Sorry, just for purposes of showing the screen here, we had to break it into images instead of scroll. But if we go to the next one as well, you can kind of get a sense of what this initial home landing page will look like. So again, really excited. Shout out to our web developer. If anyone is looking for, or web designer, I should say, for a professional website, we've got someone we can definitely connect you with. But again, keep your eyes peeled. That is going to drop on Monday. A lot of additional details will be contained in there. Really excited to share that with each of you. So, all right. So with that, I also want to announce a new campaign here. All right, so sort of marketing campaign here. So, all right, we've had a few fun trivia moments in the Discord so far. So we want to give you the opportunity to learn more about Dragon's Crossing. We're going to put out a series of 20 questions where only the first 3 correct answers will be counted. Top 3 scores will be awarded a whitelist spot. So if you're crushing it on trivia, you can earn yourself a whitelist spot. So I do want to make the disclaimer here that you can only win whitelist spot per Discord per wallet. That said, trivia is going to take place on April 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern in our Discord. So please keep your eyes open for that. Put that on your calendars, and we will be really excited to give you another opportunity to earn a whitelist spot. All right. So, with that, this is today's town hall. We didn't get a chance to answer all your questions here, but again, we're going to have another town hall next week, and we will have a weekly town hall until we launch, and probably thereafter as well. So again, that's a wrap on our third town hall here with our devs. Thank you for joining. We'll be releasing key parts of our town hall today for those who weren't able to join live. Again, please retweet, like, share this content. We want to get that word out and be able to share what we've been working on so hard for the last year with you. So thank you so much, and we will see you again next week.